Hello and welcome to this video that is aimed at explaining in simple terms what is the Intra-Cluster Correlation Coefficient or ICC, and why it is crucial to always consider it in the context of cluster randomized trials. First, let me introduce the concept of cluster randomized trials before we delve into the ICC. A clinical trial often compares a new or experimental approach to the care of a particular patient group with the current standard of care, known as the control for those patients. For example, a group training for nurses might be compared to an individual training. The trial is randomized if the choice for receiving the new approach or the control is determined essentially by chance. Some trials randomize on a patient-by-patient basis. Others randomize several patients together. For example, all the patients attending the same hospital or clinic might be randomized to the same approach to care. The latter is called a cluster-randomized trial. Now let's go back to the ICC definition. If we consider an outcome variable at the individual or patient level, it is quite likely that this outcome measure depends more or less on the cluster. For example, the occurrence of a nosocomial infection during a hospital stay might be related in some way to the hospital and its own hygiene policies. In conclusion, outcome measures within a same cluster are generally more similar than measures from different clusters. This similarity is exactly what measures the Intra-Cluster Correlation Coefficient, or ICC. It is usually between 0 and 1, and can be interpreted as a percentage. If outcome measures do not depend on the clusters, the ICC is equal to 0. The more similar outcome measures are within the clusters, the higher the ICC. It is crucial to take the ICC into account for several reasons. First, this coefficient has an impact on statistical power. In most scenarios, the higher the ICC, the more patients are needed for statistical tests to detect a significant difference between the control and intervention groups. This is why the ICC must be considered during the sample size calculation of a cluster randomized trial. Likewise, it is important to use methods that takes the ICC into account for the statistical analysis, such as a mixed effects models or generalized estimating equations. The ICC is also a very useful information that is important to report as it can help others in designing their research studies. Indeed, the more ICC estimates will be disseminated, the easier the choice of the ICC will be for sample size calculations of future cluster randomized trials. We hope you found this video informative. Please don't hesitate to check the ICC Shiny app tutorial if you want to learn more on how to use the app. Thanks for watching.